This morning, the president's plan to utilize the government shutdown to lay off thousands of federal workers is now on hold. A federal judge called it unlawful in part because she found the planned layoffs to be politically motivated. The ruling comes after the White House budget director said more than 10,000 federal workers will be laid off. With us now is defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Shan, talk to me about the immediate impact of this. What happens to the people who've already been laid off?
Well, the immediate impact is it's full stop. I mean, it's the idea of the temporary restraining orders. They have to stop these layoffs. As to the practical question of what happens to people already laid off, that is a real open question because one of the reasons the judge was so critical of the government is what she called the very hasty, arbitrary, and capricious actions, and actually points out some of these employees don't even know that they've been laid off because they don't have access to the government email, and that's how they were being informed about the layoff. So how do you put them back on? How do you let them know? Very unclear to me.
She also criticized the layoffs as political, which is a word that was used here. And definitionally, President Trump has said he is targeting Democratic programs. That's how he phrases it. So it's hard to argue that it's not political. The question is, will this stand up on appeal?
Right. It seems the height of being political because, frankly, it's very hard to identify which programs that were passed by Congress laws are only Democrat ones versus Republican. That's the politics of how you pass it, not whether the law itself can be attributed to one side or the other. On appeal, I think the real question is if it gets up to the Supreme Court, and no doubt the administration will try to get there because the High Court has been much more focused on the aspect of harm. When you're looking at these, we've got the likelihood of success of the merits and the irreparable harm. High Court keeps looking at the harm that's more important to it, being harm to the executive branch's authority rather than human beings. So I think ultimately that's going to be the test on the ultimate appeal. Court of Appeals, I think, is going to look at the law, look at the facts that the trial court ascertained, I think has a pretty good chance of surviving at the next level appeal. I think the big question is what happens when it gets to the High Court.
How much is this a decision between whether the president has the power to lay people off versus whether his justification for doing it in this case is within bounds?
I think it's very much the justification, John, and the justification here is the process that they're using. I mean, they're supposed to go by the law, and honestly, the position that the government's taken seems to be that because there's no funding right now, not only is there no funding, there's no law. I mean, they're saying basically all bets are off because there's a lack of funding. And that doesn't make sense. And quite surprisingly, well, maybe not surprisingly these days, the Justice Department in court trying to defend it actually said to the judge they were not prepared to address the merits of the case, which is really hard to understand.
All right, Shan Wu, great to see you this morning. Thank you very much. Obviously, we will watch this as it wends its way through the courts.